also a graduate of Cape Cod Community College.
Right. So my story is a little bit different because I landed on Cape Cod 12 years ago, and I thought I will stay here for 1 year, study English, and then go back to my home country. I lived with a family with a single mom and 3 teenage boys, and I spoke barely any English, so it was not very easy. But I felt if I give up and go back to the Czech Republic, what people would say, what are you doing here? You said we will see you in a year. So I felt coming back after 2-3 months was not an option. So I stayed, I studied hard, I was focusing on my goal, and it was getting easier and easier and easier. After 10 months, I realized, I will be going home in two months and my English is not as good as I was hoping it would be. So I decided I will stay. I started to attend Cape Cod Community College. I also met my husband, and I was studying, and I had few people that I was helping. I was doing cleaning on the side. I felt cleaning, I will be active, I can help people, I can make extra money, why not? When I was thinking what my career is gonna be on Cape Cod, when I knew I will stay here, I knew that finding a job was not an option because my English was not great, and competing with other people here, it just was not an option. And I knew I always wanted to own my own business. So after thinking, maybe I will start a cleaning business, but it cannot be just a regular cleaning business because that's what I would not want to do that. I wanted to do something with a positive impact. And I decided to start a natural cleaning company. So in 2008, I started Clean Green. I was working from my living room using my old car, my first car that I had. I was cleaning people's homes, I was studying, I was sending invoices, I was doing everything as Amanda said. Everything that was available. I had to make sure my living room and my kitchen is clean so I can focus and have my work done. But when I was sitting in the living room looking out of the window, working on my computer, I had a vision. I wanted to build a successful cleaning company, a different cleaning company, with employees, with company cars, with office people, and that's what kept me going. It was not easy. When I had to get up early, go clean, start doing 100 different things. But this dream and this vision was what I woke up in the morning and I said, this is what am I gonna do? I started to network because I was new to the Cape, I didn't know many people, but I learned very quickly that everybody was very supportive. So I started to join different organizations. I joined CCYP, I joined American Women Business Association, Business Networking International, I joined different chambers, and I like to talk to people. So I talked to them, I found out about what they do, they were supportive of me having my own business. And time went by, and that's what I kept going. Then I transferred to Suffolk, I finished my bachelor's degree, and then my daughter was born. I had a new boss. I had to adjust my schedule. I was not ready to give up my business. I wanted to do my business, but I also wanted to be a good mom. So I had to balance, have my daughter, have my business. I have 2 babies, so one is my business. And so it was great. It was a challenge, but I didn't look at it as, okay, this is impossible, I cannot do this. I looked at it, how can I make it work? I asked people for help. I was not afraid to come and say, would you help me? Would you help me do that? I will help you with something else. What is the worst case scenario? People will say no, so I move on. My husband makes fun of me and says, you never stop asking. I said, no, I will never stop asking. Say no if it's not an option. So it has been quite an experience because now, 7 years later, I have an office in Barnstable Village, I have 3 company cars, I have 15 employees, and I have an amazing staff. And I wake up every day and I'm excited what's gonna happen. There are challenges, there are hurdles that I have to overcome, but I'm not looking at that as, okay, what am I gonna do, what's gonna happen, and I don't want it to bring me down. I'm looking at it as a challenge. How am I gonna solve it? How am I gonna move towards the next goal? So I have a different experience. I came to the Cape and I started my business, and I think that Cape Cod is such a special place because everybody wants to see you succeed. You don't see it everywhere. People support you. People want to support you, they want to buy from you, they want to help you however they can. And knowing that, I also knew that I want to give back, so I started to get involved in the community. I joined different nonprofit organizations, I'm sitting on several boards, and I am helping others because they help me. If I would not have the support of the community and of everybody, I would not be where I am now. And I know I have to give back, and I love doing that. So that's my story.
That's great, thank you. To my left, we have Dara Bryan, who, like Lisa and Adam, is also on the CCYP Board of Directors, and she is also the Program Officer at the Cape Cod Foundation. Dara?
Thanks. I think hearing some themes with my fellow panelists here and our stories, but I moved here 4 years ago, almost exactly, it was the end of April, from Colorado, and I had family here, but I didn't have a strong connection to the Cape, really. I visited a couple times, come for vacation, and I just thought I would come work in a restaurant, make some money, go to the beach, you know, have a good summer, and then do something else, figure out the next part after that. But come September, I didn't want to leave. I really liked it, but I didn't know what opportunities were out there. You know, were there, most of the people I had met over the summer were just here for the summer. Were there opportunities to live and work? Were there full-time jobs? So I started looking. I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly, but I knew it was important to me to do mission-driven work. So I started looking at some different nonprofits. I'd done some internships in college, and that's sort of been my background, so I thought I would pursue that. So I actually came across a post from CCYP, and they were looking for office help. And so I Googled CCYP and did a little research and thought, well, if nothing else, this is, you know, if I want to stay here, this is an organization to be plugged into. The post wasn't recent, it was a few months old, so I figured they probably already hired the position, but I reached out anyway, and it turned out that they hadn't. So I started volunteering a couple days a week in the office for CCYP, and I went to my first networking event shortly after that. I remember meeting Lisa. I was actually terrified because I'd never been to a networking event. I didn't even really know what it meant. I mean, I didn't have business cards, so I was like, what do you do? But everybody was so nice and welcoming, and I was really impressed at how many smart, driven, creative people were making lives for themselves here. So I thought, if they can do it, I can do it too. And so my volunteer position with CCYP turned into a part-time job, which turned into full-time. So I was able to leave the restaurant and concentrate fully on kind of the next steps in my career. And I didn't know what that looked like exactly. You know, when I was job searching, I didn't feel like I had enough experience. Everything I was seeing had the kind of requisite 2 to 3 years experience, and I didn't think I had that, but I really just didn't know how to frame the skills and the background I had in the right way. So Adam, you might relate to this, but you know, working in restaurants, you're talking to people constantly and meeting new people, which was helpful going to work for a membership organization of, well, now 1,000 members, but at the time hundreds of members, that has multiple events every month, or being able to, you know, manage multiple things at the same time in a fast-paced environment, which is helpful, especially in small nonprofit organizations here on the Cape, where in one role you might be wearing multiple hats. So I had to kind of learn how to frame what skills I did have and what background I did have to the career I wanted. And I also just needed someone to take a chance on me, which CCYP did. So I really enjoyed it, met tons of people. Through one of those connections, started working, got the job at the Cape Cod Foundation. So I've been there a little over 2 years now. So I'm the program officer, which means I manage the grants and scholarships, which is fascinating work. I really enjoy it. I get to meet lots of people and learn a lot about the community that way. And it's also great because the foundation is really supportive of my other volunteer work within the community. So I still get to be involved with CCYP's first committee member and now on the board, which is important because I really do credit CCYP with opening doors to allowing me to stay here and making those connections. And I've actually recently joined the board of the Cape Cod Technology Council as well, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I feel very lucky now, thinking I can't believe it's been 4 years, but you know, we live in this beautiful place and I have a job I like, and I never would have thought any of that was happening when I packed up my dog and drove across the country. So yeah.
Great, I love the diversity of the stories. And our last panelist is Mark McCartan, who is the president of Dowling & O'Neill Insurance, and I just passed around a new opportunity that Dowling and O'Neill Insurance is offering in conjunction with Cape Cod Community College to help others live and thrive on Cape Cod. They're offering, for the first time ever, a part-time career opportunity plus a $3,000 scholarship. So if anyone is interested, they are now hiring. And I'll let Mark tell you a little bit more about himself and his organization.
Well, first and foremost, I feel like the redheaded stepchild here at this table. I am definitely not a Cape Cod young professional.
There's no age limits.
You know, see, it's the better grade than toothpick luck. But my wife describes me as a townie, and I'm very proud to be a townie. I grew up in Osterville as a kid. I actually, believe it or not, it's scary to think. I live 2 houses away from where I grew up as a kid. Moved back there about 6 years ago. Attended Osterville Elementary School, went to Barnstable High School, left the Cape, went to Villanova University, ended up living in Boston, and somehow a black hole, the vortex of Cape Cod sucked me back in and got me back down here. It's a unique situation to be able to live in the Cape. I feel extremely fortunate that I've been able to put myself in a position to own a company, be comfortable, live a comfortable life, raise my wife. Trust me, if somebody's raising the other. Raising my 3 kids with my wife here in the Cape. And it's funny, because Adam said something about his daughter. My 16-year-old, I own an insurance agency, so you gotta take this in context. She got her learner's permit yesterday. Sends me a text saying, I got my learner's permit, I'm texting and driving. JK. Wow. There isn't a better place in all honesty to live. I've lived in a lot of places. Villanova, I was out of Philadelphia, I lived outside Philly for a while. I spent a lot of time traveling up and down the East Coast, and there's something about this place. It's almost like you've got a lot of different communities wrapped up into one area. But I was saying before to Lisa, I feel like you can travel to different sections of the Cape and feel like you're traveling to a different section of the country. You look outside in a day like today, there isn't a better place to live. I mean, it's beautiful outside, and as I said, I feel very fortunate. But for me, I think perseverance is probably first and foremost the reason I've been able to succeed. I've always said to people, I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I had 3 older brothers who beat me down like there was no tomorrow, but it toughened me up and it gave me very thick skin to be able to push through, because I realized, and you listen to Chick's story from being, from another country coming to the Cape, it's a very difficult task, but you realize in the end of the day, only you can control your own destiny. You gotta step up, you gotta be able to take the rejection and just push through, because at the end of the day, this community is a very, very tight community. I've always felt very strongly about dealing locally. I get a lot of opportunities, and we work with a lot of businesses off Cape as well. But if it comes down to me purchasing a product from a national chain, but I know it's from a local vendor, I'm going with a local vendor. Because I know that person is the one who supports my kids' schools. I know that person is the one who eats at the restaurants around here. I know that person is the one who buys insurance from my agency. So it's a tight community. We all stick together in the long haul. And in the end of the day, you can succeed. But as I said, I think a lot of people have to realize that nobody else can drive the bus. You have to drive the bus. It's up to you, and it's what you want to make of it. But there's definitely a lot of opportunities on the Cape. I was saying before that insurance isn't sexy, and it really isn't. But what I felt first and foremost in my life, my father was one of those guys who always gave, and he would say to me, I asked him at Christmas time one time, I said, so what do you want for Christmas? I think I was 13. And he said, what are you gonna buy me? And I said, what kind of a question is that? And he's like, well, just tell me, what are you thinking about spending? How much? And I said, I'm not gonna tell you how much. Who knows, I'll probably buy a pack of baseball cards or something like that. But he said, just tell me how much you think you're gonna spend. $25, $50? I was like, I don't know, maybe $50. He's like, okay, do me a favor. Write a check to the needy fund, because I've got everything I've ever wanted. For me, trying to find a career it really was based around me finding something that made me happy. And making me happy was being able to